So I brought today some passive voice practice,
Okay,
and just to make I also will share this video with you is regarding the passive voice. I'm gonna explain just a little bit because I think we already checked it in a previous lesson, a previous class.
okay,
But just to recap on the passive voice, I brought this material to say when do we need to use it, right? So can you read this first 3 points on when do we need passive voice?
okay. When do we need it? You don't want to say who or what did the action. You don't know who did the action. The object is the most important part of the sentence.
Okay. And we have some
Okay.
examples next to it.
The Stand was written by Stephen King. Deadpool was directed by Tim Miller. The national anthem was sung. I
Sung
see.
by Fergie, right?
I sung by Fergie. I sung
Ah,
by
sorry.
Fergie.
Sorry, I didn't know that it was there. I was moving the lights. Okay. So what example is this corresponding to the sentences?
Okay, you want to say what? Um, but only one belongs to the three sentence.
Actually, it's the three of the examples belong
With
to one of them.
okay, okay, in the third example belongs to the third phrase.
Okay. The
Indicates
object is the most important part of the sentence. No, actually,
no,
all
it's the
of,
stand.
sorry,
It's the stand.
the stand. So actually, all of them belong to one category.
Only one.
Yes, all of them.
Okay. This time was written. This book was written. The third. No, do you want to say who? What did the action? No, I am thinking on the first and the third phrase. Maybe
Okay,
third, the first and third.
first and third, because
Mm-hmm.
we know who did it, right? These are
Yes.
the authors. It says you don't want to say who or what did the action or the most important part of the sentence. The object is the most important part of the sentence. So here it will be the third category. Why?
Okay.
Because we are talking mainly about their product, right? Or their object. The Stand was written by Stephen King. Deadpool was directed by Tim Miller. The national anthem was sung by Fergie. So we are making a special emphasis on the object that we are talking about,
Okay.
right?
That's good. Mm-hmm.
Now, this other category, for example, to be born, right? This is this is actually a passive voice we use all the time. I was born on June. We don't say my mother bore me on June, right? She was our creator, but we don't say it like that, right?
Okay.
And this is an example of I was born on June. This
I
one,
was
right?
born on June. Okay.
So you don't want to say who or what did the action. So when we say our birth date, we don't want to say that my mom gave birth to me on that date, right? Because it's
Born
not
on es como me tuvo, algo así.
I was born.
Como yo fui parido.
No, I was born es nada más como yo nací.
Ah, ok.
Yo nací en esta fecha, ¿no? Pero
But
si lo quisiéramos, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, but you say that the phrase that belongs to this example is the first.
Correct.
Okay.
Why? Because we don't want to say who did the action. Okay. Nuestro énfasis aquí principal no es quién me dio vida, ¿no? Sino que nací ese
Okay.
día, ¿no?
Ah, okay. Okay.
Entonces, la forma activa de esta oración es My mother bore me on June. Pero nunca lo decimos así, ¿no? Siempre decimos
Mhm.
I was born. Entonces, estos son ejemplos de cómo usamos passive voice sin darnos cuenta muchas de las veces. ¿Ok?
Okay. De acuerdo.
This is also passive. And an example or of something you don't know who did the action. For example, let's bring that example here. Maybe, do you know a famous painting, but that you don't know the author of the painting?
The famous painting.
Yes, or a famous book or a famous movie that you don't know who the director is.
Yes, Fast and Furious.
Okay, so Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious. For example, if we want to say a sentence, Fast and Furious was made on 2000. What do you think? 2002, maybe? Not
Was
sure.
made in. Mhm.
In 2002, right? We don't know who did it, but we know that it was made. Fue hecha, no sabemos por quién, pero fue hecha, ¿no? And maybe it's not important.
Okay.
As well, if we don't know, si no sabemos quién la hizo, pues también podemos salirnos con la nuestra y decir, oh, Fast and Furious was made in 2002 and it was a great movie. But I don't know who did it. Okay. So
Okay.
this is
Mhm.
just a review from that, okay? And now, how do we change from active to passive? Is
Active.
like this, okay? This is a
Okay.
simplified example. Can you read the first sentence?
Okay. My team finished the report early.
Correct,
Okay. In this case, we know who did the action. In this case, is my team.
correct. So we are
Okay.
using here active, right? This is an example of active voice.
Active voice. And passive.
And
And the
passive,
another example is in passive.
all right. And it says,
The report was finished early.
right. So it is optional. You can also say who did it. In passive voice, we can also do that. But if it's not relevant, we can remove it, right?
Okay.
So the report was finished by my team early. If we want to say who did it, it is very important to add by. If we don't say it, well, then we don't say it. The report was finished early. And the only thing that we changed was to move the subject to the end of the sentence and the
Okay.
object to the beginning. Okay.
We need to We need to change this part. How can I say invertir?
Yes, we can. You can say
Flip? No.
flip.
Flip?
Yes, flip. Flip
Flip,
is the right word. We can flip or switch the places.
flip or switch. So in this case, we need to switch the end, the phrase by the began.
Right. But it's not necessarily the end and the beginning, but the object and the subject. Okay, so it's very important to identify what we are talking about in our idea, right?
Okay.
Here, my subject is a team because they are doing the action, right? That is always the
Okay.
subject always does the action. That is the verb. And the object is the action that is being made, right? So this case is the report. Okay? That is the
Okay.
object being made. So you can say that the subject does an action and produces an object, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So we are going to do that. We are going to identify those parts in this sentence, okay?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
here, which one will be the subject, the verb, and the object in this sentence?
Okay. One of my teammates designed. So I need to change this, but by passive voice.
All right. But first, let's
Okay.
identify which are which, okay?
Okay. One of my teammates designed a new procedure. Um, my team, no, no, the procedure was designed.
Okay.
Uh, no, the new procedure was designed.
Just like that, right?
Yes.
Good. So it's just as simple as that, right? The new procedure was assigned. If you want to say who did it, how can you add that?
The new procedure was designed by my team.
By
No, by one of my teammates.
teammates. Okay, very good.
Uh, in this case, teammates means the same, or maybe it's a synonymous of coworker, for example.
Yes, you can actually call it like that, teammate or coworker. It
So in this
depends.
case,
Sometimes you can have coworkers that are not your teammates. Maybe they are from a
okay,
different area, so it's not like a coworker. I'm sorry, it's not like
but
a member of your team, but it's still a
t-
coworker.
teammate is talking in a singular. Is this correct?
One of my teammates,
In,
yes,
in
it's one
singular,
person.
one person. Okay,
One person that corresponds to your team, right?
okay, belongs to my team.
Okay, so very good. Okay, this is actually purple. Okay, so again, we did the same thing. We just flipped the places. We switched.
Okay,
Perfect. And let's go now with some other examples. Just finish here. This is actually red. Okay, so now let's have a little conversation. So first, we are going to mention the activities in passive voice, and then we're going to change into, I'm sorry, first to active and then to passive, okay?
okay,
And we are going to start with activities. Activities your department was responsible for this week,
okay. Invoice processing,
okay? processing.
Clean up inbox.
Okay, inbox cleanup.
Inbox cleanup. Reconciliations. Accounts reconciliations.
Reconciliations.
No. Answer emails. To answer emails.
Okay.
Answer emails.
Okay.
Another one is to get the KPIs.
To achieve or to get?
To get.
Get. Okay. Why to get?
Or maybe it's download the information to the KPIs.
Okay. Download the information from or to the KPIs? Or for the KPIs?
For KPIs.
For the KPIs. Okay.
Yes.
Download. I'm gonna write it. Okay, to get the KPIs, download the information for KPIs, right? This one is, do you pronounce it like that usually? Because by letters it would sound KPI. But is it
KPI.
KPIs or KPI? How do you hear it often in your work?
KPI.
KPI.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Just that. Okay, so we have those activities. Now, how do we change them? So how would usually how we would say this is like, okay, my department processed some invoices, right? This would be like the active way. My department processed some invoices.
Yes. Processed is in my department is processed, no?
Processed. Oh,
Oh,
I put it in past.
Processed is processed. Processed.
What
No,
do you mean?
se pronuncia processed.
Oh, processed, like a
Processed.
T. Processed.
Processed.
Sounds like a T as in Tom. Processed.
Processed.
Okay. My department processed some invoices. Good. Right? So this is the active way. What is the passive way?
The invoices has been processed.
I'm going to add this week, right?
Okay.
So my department processed some invoices this week. So
So
my
the
subject. I'm sorry.
well, it could be the invoices was processed this week.
Okay. Very good. There is just a slight mistake.
The invoices was processed this week.
The problem is where.
Where?
Okay.
Yes.
There. But everything is good with the order. The invoices were processed this week.
Were processed this week. Okay. Inbox cleanup.
Okay, so the usual way, it will be again, my department.
Okay.
My department cleaned up.
The inbox.
Has cleaned up.
Inbox.
The inbox, right?
The inbox. Okay, passive voice. It could be the inbox was cleaned.
Just like that. Inbox was cleaned.
Was cleaned.
And as well, we can always add more information. Maybe yesterday, we can add the time, right? My department cleaned the inbox this week, or maybe yesterday. And the inbox was cleaned yesterday. We are going to add the time just to make it longer with more information. Okay, what about account reconciliations? What is the passive form of this? I'm sorry, the active.
Okay. The accounts. The accounts were the accounts were reconciled.
Counts. Okay. Okay, you jumped straight into the passive.
Is inactive.
I was going to write active, but you already did it passive, so that's good. The account where
Reconciled.
conciliated. Okay.
And inactive. My team. No. No, the accounts were reconciled by my team.
Okay, that is still passive. Okay.
It's still passive, but I am adding the who is doing the action.
Yes, but it is possible to add the action in passive as well, as in here. Okay, but it's the thing that changes the passive to the active is the order
Okay, the
of
order.
the sentence. Okay, here
Okay,
it is still passive, but it's optional, right? It depends.
okay.
Depends on
So in this case, is my team reconciled the accounts?
very good. Good. Reconciled. Okay, reconciled, reconciliated, reconciliated. Okay, it is marked as reconciled.
Oh,
Okay, that's
yes.
for reconciled instead of reconciliate, reconciled. Okay. Now, okay, we have the active and the passive. The next one is answer emails. Can you try the passive voice directly?
What phrase?
Answer emails.
Answer emails in passive voice. Um, the emails was answered. No, the emails were answered. Yes, the emails were answered.
Okay, good. Emails were answered,
Ans
answered, right?
answer, answer.
And lastly, download the info for the key KPIs.
Yes.
So in passive,
Um, the the KPIs. No, the information for KPIs was downloaded.
was
In this case, it
down.
was because it's it, no?
Yes, information is like a singular.
Singular.
Information
If
for the KPIs
once download.
was downloaded. Okay,
Was downloaded.
download. Okay. Very
Donut.
important. We always use the participle, okay? Aquí pareciera que estamos usando pasado, pero en pasivo siempre usamos perdón. The interesting thing here is that in active you use past, okay?
Mhm.
For example, here my mother bore me as this is past, but in passive we use born. Born is participle, okay? Very important thing to remember. Here we
Okay.
are using was written. No estamos usando wrote. Was wrote, right? No. Was written.
Was
Was
written.
directed, como es un verbo regular, se queda con ed en pasado y en participio también, right? Sung, it is, what is the past of sing?
Sing, sang, song.
Sang, right? So sang is the past and this is the participle, sung. So very
So
important thing
we
to remember.
so in this case we need to change the verb.
Correct. So all of this one is participle, pero no se alcanza como a reconocer porque estamos usando verbos regulares en todos los casos, ¿no?
Ah, okay.
Pero si son en pasivo, en activo sí es pasado normal, pero I'm sorry, en activo es pasado normal, en pasivo sí es pasado participio. Okay.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. Mm.
And okay, now let's do another exercise. So this is a story that I liked about the Titanic because it's in participle. The whole story is in participle, and I found it interesting. But
Okay.
now here we are going to do the opposite. We are going to change the passive
Mhm.
into the active, okay? But let's take a look at the text. Okay.
Okay. So Titanic was built in 1912. It was designed in a new way and it was thought to be unsinkable because because of this it wasn't given enough lifeboats for the passengers and crew. The hull was damaged by a collision with a hawk iceberg and it sank very fast. A total of 1,513 people were drowned that day. Because of this disaster, a lot of magazines were, were printed in many languages. New international safety laws were passed and ice patrol was established. In 1985, the wreck the wreck was located on the seabed and the ship was exploded. Several successful films have been made about the Titanic since then, and the most recent was released released in 1998.
1997. Or 97.
97.
Okay, good. So as you can see, most of this text is passive voice, and it sounds good, right? It doesn't sound, well, at least in my opinion, it sounds good. It doesn't sound strange uh, or that is wrong. It is actually very professional to write in that way, especially for news or official data. Okay,
Okay.
so let's check some of the pronunciation. Okay, this one is unsinkable.
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 Inundable.
Correct.
Sí, algo así, ¿no? Como que nunca se puede
Uns
hundir.
yes, unsinkable. Okay, the whole. The whole.
The whole, it means the beginning of the ship when you
Hull was damaged.
the
I I'm not
whole
I'm not sure about the parts of the ship, but let's
Yeah,
Hull of a
it's a
ship.
part of the ship, but I think this is maybe
Okay, here it is. The
uh
hull, it looks like
like a chassis.
it's this part according to the picture. Let's see.
Okay,
Yes, I think it is.
maybe
Okay,
it's like a chassis.
it has many parts. Hull, maybe hull of a ship. Yes, like a chassis.
It's the part above
Okay, it
the
doesn't
ship.
say here. Hull. Okay, this part. It'll
Mhm.
be más bien como la carcasa. ¿Cómo se le diría en español? La
Algo
cubierta is the
así.
deck, right? But on the hull,
Yes.
I think is the surroundings of the boat on the lower part. Okay,
Okay.
right. So the hull was damaged
The whole was damaged.
and collision. This is huge.
Huge iceberg. Con un
The
gran, como un
pronunciation.
amplio, the huge iceberg.
Yes, huge. It's like a big iceberg. Okay, the pronunciation of this word. This is mag
Magazine.
magazines.
Mag
Magazines.
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 And which other word? Okay, that's only those words, the pronunciation. Okay, now let's identify which is the first sentence that is in passive voice.
Uh, uh, what is the first sentence? A lot of magazines were printed.
Okay, but from the beginning, sorry, from the
Oh,
beginning.
okay. Uh, it was designed in a new way.
Okay, it was assigned, right?
So the phrase is the Titanic was designed.
Right. That is passive, but what would be the active voice?
The Titanic was built in 1912.
Okay. Actually, this one is also passive. Okay.
Yes.
The Titanic was built. Yes. If we want to do it active, it'll be someone built the
Uh,
Titanic in 1912. Someone built the
okay.
Titanic. But the Titanic was built. And
Yes, because the Titanic was built wasn't built by herself,
right by itself.
by self,
Yes. By itself. By
but
itself.
itself.
Right.
Yes.
Someone had to build it, right? But as well, it was assigned. It is also passive. It was assigned. The what would be the active voice? The active voice of it was assigned.
Okay, it could be it was designed in a new way. It was thought to be uh I don't find another one.
Could be, for example, someone designed it. That would be the past, the active, sorry. Someone designed the Titanic in a new way, right?
Okay,
But here, according to this text, it is not important to know who, right?
okay,
That's why.
okay.
Okay, what is another phrase you can identify in passive?
Passenger. The hull was damaged.
Right, the hull was damaged by a collision with a huge iceberg.
Um,
Okay, what is another phrase?
the people were drowned,
People were
drowned,
drowned.
or drowned.
What would be the active form of people were drowned?
Um, Inactive.
Inactive, yes. People were drowned.
The Titanic. Or no,
We have
no,
to
I
think,
don't know.
we have to think on the action. How do people get drowned? By what drowns people is water, right? Water
Yeah.
drowns people. If we want to say this inactive, water drowned the people that
Okay,
day, right?
because in this case, the water uh, has this responsibility to drown the people.
Right. But it will be really strange to mention that, right?
Yes,
Because we know that it's not necessary to mention that water drowned them. So
but is who did the action?
yeah, so water did that action, but it's absolutely not necessary to mention it. So that's why usually we say, oh, people were drowned.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, what is the next one?
And the next one, the magazines were printed.
Okay. So this one is more complicated to make it inactive because we don't know, well, who prints magazines usually?
Mm, who prints the magazines?
Yes, who is in charge of printing magazines?
Um, Maybe an agency.
An agency, right? Could be, or how do you call that? It's editorial houses, editorial companies.
Yes.
It could be, but depends on the type of magazine. So instead of the active voice, if we say editorials, print magazines, how would we say that? A lot of magazines were printed in inactive
Okay.
voice.
Inactive voice. Okay. Um, another one, the international safety laws. The laws were basic or or pieced.
So, what are you?
Yes, new
The
international
safety
laws.
laws were passed.
The safety laws were passed.
Okay. New international safety law were passed and ice patrol was established. Also, ice patrol was established. So, who makes the laws? Who establishes laws?
The international, no.
Maybe the government or an
Yes,
international committee? I don't know. So, if we want to say this inactive voice, we could say the government.
the government, um, the, the government, the government created
Government
in passive
created.
voice. No, I think that we need to change this part because the correct phrase it could be um, the laws, the safety laws was the safety laws were created by the government
Okay,
or
yes,
were created.
were created by the government. But this is passive voice, right? Safety
Yeah.
laws were created by government. Inactive, sorry, it will be the government created new laws, right? This is active from the new international safety law were passed.
Ah, okay.
But it is not
Um,
necessary to mention that the government created them because we can infer that the government creates laws, right?
okay.
Okay. And the same for the ice patrol, right? An ice patrol was established by the government. So in
Yes.
active voice, how do we say this?
The patrol. We're talking about the patrol, is this correct?
Yes, the ice patrol.
Okay. The ice patrol was created in passive voice, and in active voice it could be the patrol. No, the government create the patrol.
Created. Okay, perfect. The government created the ice patrol, right?
The ice patrol.
Okay, then we have in 1985, the wreck was located on the seabed and the ship was explored. Okay, so we have another passive here, right?
Okay.
Okay, so what is the passive sentence in here?
Um, was located on the sea. The Greg, the Greg
The
was located in passive voice, and in active, the Greg.
the wreck was
I don't
located.
know what is in active.
Okay, so first, the first important question is to know who located the wreck, right? So we don't know, but
Yes,
who do you
we don't
think
know.
who do you think can locate a wreck in the sea? Who usually explores the sea?
Okay.
Maybe how do you call people that go under the sea and explore?
Can you repeat that?
Yes. How do you call the people who go under the sea to explore it? The people that wear special equipment to go under the sea. What's the name of those people? Their profession.
Oh, I don't understand well the profession.
Okay, for
Mm,
example, we have I yes. So okay, let's see. So these are divers, right? Divers are people that usually they are biologists, but they call themselves divers because they go under the sea to explore, right?
okay.
So we can maybe we don't know if it was them, but maybe it could be that some divers
Mm-hmm.
located the ship, right?
Okay.
So that'll be the active voice. Some divers located the ship on the seabed. Okay. And then it was explored.
Okay.
Okay. So every time we want to change from passive to active, we have to ask ourselves who did the action, right?
Nice.
Okay. Then the last part, is there a passive sentence in the last part?
Mm, yes. In passive, I can identify the films was made. Yes, the films was made.
Okay, it says several films have been made. Okay, since then. Okay, so this is
And
passive, right?
yes,
Several films have
and
been made.
inactive maybe is the Titanic. Where the Titanic made the films.
But it wasn't the Titanic though, right? Who usually does films?
Special persons.
Right. It could be directors, right? Or producers
Yes,
or anything like
directors.
that. So we have to refer to that, right? Maybe producers have or producers made films about the Titanic since then, made several successful films. Right? That
Okay.
would be, or active voice producers made several films about the Titanic. Okay. So each time,
Okay.
remember to ask who did the action, who made the films. Okay, maybe producers, right? Maybe
Okay.
directors. Okay. And lastly, there are some questions. There are some questions around here.
Mhm.
Okay, so here what the activity is telling us is to write the verbs in passive voice. This will be a little of a homework, okay? If
Okay.
you have the time for next class
Mhm.
and to answer these questions. Okay, this one I think is already answered. Try to, when you are answering this, let's do the first example. It has to be in passive voice, okay? We can also ask questions in passive voice, but we are going to check those next class. For
Okay.
example, this is a question in passive voice. When was the Titanic built?
When was the film?
Okay. And
Built in
or answer in
1912.
passive voice. It's built.
It was built in 1912.
Right. So the next one, the ship
The ship
was towed.
was thought to be unsinkable. Unsinkable. What were the consequences of it?
What were
To
the
be unsinkable.
consequences?
The consequences are the 1,313 people were drowned.
Perfect. Okay. What other consequence happened? Okay, no, it's here. The next
Mm.
question. How
How
was the
was the
whole?
hull damage? The hull was damaged by a collision with a
Okay.
huge iceberg.
Collision. Okay, with a huge iceberg. Okay. The next one.
Uh, what happened with the ship after the collision? It sank very fast.
It sank.
The 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 ship was sank
The ship.
where the ship was sank. Yes.
Okay. But this is sank is the past of sink, but there is a participle of sink, sank.
Sunk.
Yes, like singing. It's the same as sing, sang, sung. It's sing, sang, sunk. So the ship was sunk after the
Yeah.
collision. Okay, good. Okay, so you don't have homework. No more homework. This.
Mm.
because I think the verbs are really easy to identify, aren't they? Only,
Okay. Yes.
only, yes, I think homework, yes, it'll be only verbs in passive voice from here. Okay, it's really easy,
Okay.
I think. I'm gonna
Yes.
send you this uh, through, this is actually a website, no, it's a picture from the web. It's not a PDF, so it's going to be sent in the form of a link.
Okay.
Okay, so you can complete it. Oh, I really hate writing on the screen with this tool. It's
So with this, I can see the PDF.
it's not a PDF, it's a picture.
Okay. Okay. That's okay.
Okay, I couldn't download it as a PDF, but I only have, it's a JPG format. It's a picture.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll be the only homework. We will check the questions, how to make questions in passive next class. That'll be our next topic. Write it
Okay.
here. Questions. So I don't forget questions.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done my homework either. I have to create the material. And that'll be it. Um, if you have to review something special next class, let me know.
Okay.
If there isn't anything else you want to check, we will continue with passive void questions.
Okay. Well, in the same case, I would like to have another again the more speaking. I like
Okay.
it.
Okay, for the same topic.
Yes, I like the topics that we were checking in some classes, the last class maybe. But I like to
Oh,
the
quiet.
part of the speaking.
Okay, good. So now the next step will be then to practice speaking of passive when
Yes.
reading graphs, okay? With chart reading,
Okay.
okay?
Yes, it could be a great idea.
Speaking with charts. Okay, so then we will do that, applying this new form of speaking to charts. Okay.
Okay, that could be okay.
But thank you for coming and have a good night
Okay, see
as
you.
well.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.